We got a special guest coming up soon.
Special guest.
Oh my goodness!
Surprise, surprise!
Look at this. We're
Make way.
gonna put the
White Sox fans.
put the quote review on.
Call your sons. Call your daughters. We got a special guest joining us right now. Amazing. Right here in Nashville.
Suspense builds.
Who do you guys think it is? Put in the comments who you think it is, because we have this guy and he's been here in Nashville talking to all the great folks, and it is Marlins third baseman Jake Burger. It hurts me to say Marlins third baseman Jake Burger, but congratulations, Jake. So thank you for joining us here on CHGO White Sox, and White Sox fans absolutely miss you since the day that you got traded, but we're very happy for your success.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on. I think the thing I want to tell, White Sox fans in general is kind of what I echoed in the video I posted in October, is just how many relationships and how many people I've met over my time with Chicago. And, I'm always going to be grateful for every single relationship, I created there. So, thank you for everything. And, I appreciate your guys' support throughout the Marlins push for the postseason.
It's funny you bring that up, and we were hearing from Jim Leland earlier today, who was just named to the Hall of Fame, and he said it was amazing how many texts I had, not just from guys that I managed at the big league level, but guys that I managed in the minor leagues. And when you talk about the relationships and the time that you spent with this organization, so much of it was not on the south side of Chicago. Mm-hmm. And so when you were traded away and when you did look back, how much of that looking back had to do with those years in the minor leagues and the relationships that you made with those folks?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're with the organization from the start, you're going to create all those relationships. And there's so many coaches and players that you play with, and guys I was rehabbing with too, that were going through some of our darkest moments in our career. And just kind of looking back on that, and it was really hard not to think about that when you're going to play for a postseason berth. And I think that's why I posted the video when I did, was after we lost to the Phillies. It was like I had a couple weeks to kind of decompress and think about just every special moment, every terrible moment, every moment really, and just reflect on everything. And it was really special. And the fans in Chicago have always been super special to me, and just how positive they were through the worst moment of my career. And it was just I can't help and just have a special place in my heart for everybody.
What were August and September like? I think a lot of people, at least back in Chicago, saw that quote you had after one of the big wins that the Marlins had, the most fun you've ever had playing baseball. It looked like it. It looked like you were having fun. What were those 2 months like as you guys made a push for the playoffs that ended up being successful?
Yeah. I think, you look at the 21 season when we went to the ALDS, it was different because I wasn't I made my debut. I played for a month that season. So I wasn't really a big factor in terms of us getting to the postseason. Then I was on the taxi squad. I wasn't on the playoff squad. So it was interesting to go to Miami, where I know I'm going to have a chance to get to the postseason and be on that playoff team and be a middle of the bat order for them. And, I think it was just having that emotion of, we're 2 months away and we could be, pushing for who knows, the sky's the limit at that point. So that it really was just crazy going over there and realizing that you're losing some friends, not really losing friends, but you're kind of getting cut off of them because you're not really talking to them every single day in the clubhouse, and going to make new friends and, having as much fun as you can with them, and help what they started in spring training to, push it across the line.
We're getting a lot of live comments from White Sox fans, and they're excited to see you. Brewhan Luke says, "Oh man, hi Jake, I miss you." Fred says, "We love you, Jake. Congrats to you and your family." Brian S says, "Mustache game on point."
Thank my wife.
Sir Thomas says, "Please tell him Tottenham sucks."
Wow.
And Sir Thomas wants to know, have you met Messi yet?
No, that's definitely on the docket for next season. David Beckham, Messi, everybody down there. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And Jake, we're talking today, of course, the rumors mill about the White Sox is about Dylan Cease and maybe he getting traded. You're a person that's gone through that. We sometimes forget the human element of getting traded. I remember you guys were in Texas, and then you get traded to the Marlins, and you pretty much go down there and then have to go right back to Texas. You, your wife, your young child. How is that on a family? I know that it's great that you were at the Marlins, but also this is the club that you grew up with. How was that to deal with getting traded for the first time?
Yeah, it's really interesting, just kind of all that goes into it. Just from getting new numbers from the clubhouse manager and getting a new travel secretary number, and just being able to coordinate and create a relationship with them. And obviously Ashland and Brooks were with me in Texas, and I called them. I'm like, all right, we got to pack up the room. And, fortunately we were coming back to Texas in 36 hours. So we were able to leave some of our suitcases in the hotel. But I really couldn't have done it without Ashland, being there as a rock, and, just being able to be there and support me, and, take care of all the stuff that's outside of the game, and just, be so strong for me, and just let me go out there and play my game. And so, it's definitely a whirlwind. I think in-season trades are a lot tougher to, come to terms with, because it's, the next night you're playing in a game, and with a different color, different number, different coach, different manager, so it was definitely, it's definitely a lot harder in season than it is out of season. But anytime you're going to a new team, it's definitely tough.
How did it go down? Is it like, did you know how it was going to happen? Like, was it something like you pictured, like, if I ever got traded, this is what's going to happen? Or
No, I honestly, like, it just kind of happened so fast. You think it's methodical, and it's like, hey, we're thinking about trading you here. But when you get to the deadline, I think you can have those talks in the off season. Like, some guys in the front office will, reach out and say, hey, like, this is what we're thinking. Whereas I think the middle of the season, it just happens in a split second. And it's like, all right, you're on a plane to Miami. Like, thanks for everything. Like, try and thank as many people as you can. And you don't want to forget anybody, because you are so grateful for everybody that's in place to support you. And then you're playing in a game the next night.
2 weeks, within 2-3 weeks after you got traded, the guys who made that trade were gone. So much change just in that 1 month, and certainly in the time since for this White Sox organization. As you look back, how did you kind of watch it get to this point, at least in 2023? Obviously, as we were talking about, it's a several years of memories for you with this organization. Not something that you look back on not fondly, but in 2023, how did it go from the expectations you guys had in the spring to what happened in August?
Yeah, I think there were a lot of injuries, and it's really tough when you do have injuries to keep that cohesive core. I mean, you look at the Braves, and I mean, they relatively stayed healthy in their lineup the entire year. And so, anytime that happens, and it's just it's tough. Baseball's a tough game, and a couple games don't go your way, and you can get discouraged very easily. And it snowballs from there. And same thing with the Rays when they were winning every single game. It's like it's a game of just ebbs and flows, where if you're riding a hot streak, it's really easy to show up, and it's like, hey, we're winning. And when you're scuffling a little bit, it's tough to try and get through that, because the game's a beautiful game, and it's definitely a game of karma, and it'll come back to bite.
We've heard from guys before who have been traded or just changed teams for the first time that, oh, wow, there's another way of doing things. Or organizations do things differently. You're someone who spent years probably thinking, well, this is the way it's done. And then you get to see a new way. What has impressed you about the way the Marlins do things, be it in the clubhouse or the relationship with the front office, or really just anything?
Yeah, I think it's just every single organization has their own way of doing things. And I don't think it's true just going from Chicago. I think it's going from Chicago to LA or LA to Miami. I think every single team's going to have a different culture, a different vibe. Surface level, I think the biggest difference was getting Cuban coffees in the clubhouse before the game. But
well, you'd think with Yohan and Luis in there, you guys could get.
I know that's. I want to text one of them and be like, guys, you guys have been hiding this from me.
I could use a few of those right now. So what brought you to the winter meetings today?
I was going to go on MLB Network and with a couple of my buddies from my agency, Brandon Lau and Vinnie Pescantino. So we have a good relationship, and just shoot the crap up on the big stage. And it's also such a close drive for us that we wanted to see all the hoopla of what the winter meetings are and all the conversations you have and all the people you see. So I'm glad we had this opportunity to come here.
Awesome. We appreciate you stopping by the set. It's
a
real stand-up thing to do, and as evidenced by the chat, everyone misses you here.
Yeah, well, I'll always be grateful for every single White Sox fan out there. So thank you for being such big supporters.
Cool. Thanks, Jake.
Yep.
Jake, great seeing you, man.
Good seeing you.
See you, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Jake Berger.
All the best,
Awesome.
Jake.
Absolutely awesome.
That was fun.
Like, you root for people like that for their success, not only because of the good story, because of the multiple Achilles tears and him coming back from that. And remember, in the 2020 season, he was kind of down because, there's no playing. In the minor leagues, there was no minor league. So the White Sox let him go to independent ball. And then, through those years of just toiling through the major leagues, remember, at the beginning of this year, he didn't make the major league club. And so from not making the major league club to hitting 34 home runs in the season, you got to cheer for a guy like that. Family is awesome. Like his wife, Ashlyn, and his son, Brooks. It's an awesome family. And I'll be forever cheering for the person that is Jake Berger, even though I thought the trade was all right, even though because he gets to go and be Jake Berger instead of toiling on the White Sox and not playing as much.
I like the Cuban coffee line.
When you're down in Miami, right? That's where you get them.
Hey, the numbers in Miami also awesome. Like 300. Was on base a lot, slugged a lot. Much better than the numbers here in Chicago.
We all silly like the mayor.